All right, let's head to Japan, where the Olympic Games are in full swing now. At the same time, however, the COVID infection rate is on the climb. The Games, delayed by a year due to the pandemic, have also seen protests and calls for cancellation of the global sporting event due to COVID-19 concerns. Well, I'm joined now by our correspondent in Tokyo, John Matthews. John, thank you very much for joining us. So, COVID numbers in Japan and Tokyo, just how badly are they rising?
Well, they are on a record high right now. We've reported more than 3,900 here in Tokyo as of Thursday, and over 10,000 have been reported nationwide. And that's well beyond the third peak. We are at record daily highs. The third peak, which happened around the winter of this past winter, was devastating for Japan's medical system. A lot of strain, and even though vaccination rates are improving here in Tokyo, we're really seeing less severe cases as a proportion or per capita, but we're still seeing these cases rising very, very fast. We've already well exceeded that third wave, and there are beginning to be sort of alarm bells amongst the hospitals, the administration. Lots of folks are very concerned about where this is going, but not a lot of folks are really concerned about it on the streets. People are out and about. The games are very exciting for a lot of folks. The energy really has picked up for the games. There's still opposition, but people are not really staying indoors, and there are a lot of bars and restaurants staying open despite the government requests. So the measures that would be put in place normally don't seem to be very effective, and we're going to be seeing these numbers climbing more and more as we go ahead. One more number to keep in mind here. Now, we're around 17% in positive testing rates, which means that for every 100 people tested, 17 test positive. Now, if it was every 5 people to 100, that would be a threshold for rapid viral spread. So, according to the WHO, so we are at a level where the virus is spreading very, very quickly, and the numbers we're getting, that 3,800 from Tokyo, for example, may not fully grasp the enormity of how fast this virus is spreading.
Yeah, and I think you're so right. It's all about whether you're heading up and how quickly you're heading up. And of course, if the infections go up really quickly, that adds a huge burden on the hospitals, and we've seen here in South Africa that becomes the point at which you really have to start shutting aspects of your economy down, because when your hospitals can't cope, then your death rate goes up. Talk to me about what the hospitals are saying, particularly in Tokyo. Are they at full? Are they at capacity? And what is happening with the death rate and the numbers of dead every day?
Let me start you off with the number, actually. So we've only had ongoing 539 severe cases, but it seems very minor, but that is the tip of the iceberg. We spoke to some hospital administrators and doctors who were saying that this number is only counting those who are near death, and that there are many, many, many more on top of that who are actually in hospital right now, and that patient beds are starting to fill up. So we are nearing capacity at some of the hospitals in and around Tokyo. So we are very much concerned. The government is beginning to call for more other hospitals, public and private, to open up other units for COVID-19 patients. We're seeing these sort of percentages of beds allocated to infectious disease, including COVID-19, be filled more and more. So we're very much closing in on something that will begin to really strain the system. One more thing very much important. Tokyo is very much in the middle of heat stroke season, and we've already had several hundred sent to hospital just at this point, just in Tokyo. So that will also be putting a strain on the hospital system. It does every single year. So we have two sort of big issues to be concerned about here in the city, as well as other places nearby.
Talk to me about what's happening at the Olympic Games. Are infection rates climbing there as well?
Infection rates, it's hard to say. Everyone's being tested very regularly, twice a day. And we've only had I believe it's 3 new athletes at the Olympic Village itself. And I believe about a dozen, maybe 16 or so new cases associated with the Olympic stakeholders in general. That includes athletes and delegations. We are around 150 total cases associated with the Olympic Games, but given that we're talking about more than 10,000 people in these delegations total who are coming to Japan, that might seem like a small number, but there's still this sort of lack of clarity as to how closely this is tied to what's happening in the general population. Of course, the organizers, the IOC, the Japanese government say that things are very well maintained, that the athletes are separated very well, and that this isn't impacting directly or isn't causing infections that are directly connecting to the general population. But there is also the tack, and we're seeing this sort of on the street. People say that because the games are going on, that they're more willing to go out and sort of ignore government requests to stay indoors because the games are happening despite this pandemic underway and despite this fifth wave, which again is a record-setting wave at this point.
Well, thank you very much for that update. That's our correspondent in Tokyo, John Matthews.